Union Avenue, still is today, but in the 50s, it was just for this side. Where we were next door, where you bought the tickets, was a separate address. It was actually a restaurant over there called Taylor's Cafe. And then upstairs was another address. There was actually a boarding house up there, if you can believe that, with 4 different rooms. And that's where a lot of the guys that did not live in town would stay while they were recording here. Probably the biggest name that stayed up there is Roy Orbison. So you look through the window, you see the door. That is the original front door. That's where everybody would walk in. The first room is Marion's office. That's where she would hang out. This room is called the tracking room, and this is where you play the actual instrument. And then this room is called the control room, and that is where Sam would hang out and work the equipment. So it was just these 3 rooms for the studio. So, okay, I'm going to start from where I left off upstairs before I talked about Dewey's booth. We had Elvis and Scotty and Bill in this room all together that first time. We put X's on the ground for where they stood. You can be them if you want to be. This is Bill Black upright bass, and one of my favorite things in this entire room is this little indention in the ground, not too far from the X, so it played an upright, and it has the peg on the bottom of it. It's the exact same spot where you would put it. Still there in the floor tile. Ma'am, get your guitar out. You're Scotty Moore. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the queen of rock and roll, Mrs. Elvis Presley. It's right under there, yeah. So Scotty and Bill, they were actually already in a band together at that time. It was a country band. They were called the Starlight Wranglers, and they were kind of just playing their own songs here at first. So Elvis, he's trying very hard to follow along with what they're doing. These are professional musicians. He's 19 at this point. So Sam's still not very impressed with what Elvis is doing, but he is being nice. And he said, why don't y'all just take a break and go next door into the restaurant. So Elvis took his break, but he knew he was probably about to get kicked out of here. It just kind of looked like he was wasting this guy's time. So everything that he was about to do was just way more out of nervous energy. So he comes in, he's very shaken up, he starts to dance around the room, but he's shaking his arms and his legs and his hands, and he's not really even by the microphone anymore, but he is singing under his breath one of his favorite songs. It's an obscure blues song by a man named Arthur Big Boy Crudup. The title is That's All Right, Mama. So if there's anything we know about Sam, what is it? What's he into? The blues. And he hasn't heard Elvis sing the blues, and that is an extremely obscure song for Elvis to even know. So Sam is impressed when he hears this. I mean, his eyes bulge out of his head, and he runs through the door. He really kind of starts yelling at Elvis. Elvis, is that you? You've been holding back from me for an entire year, singing all these pop ballads that are on the radio that we all know, and you can do this? He said, keep doing that, but do it a little bit louder and faster and crazier. So Sam ran back into his control room, hit record, and Elvis, Scotty, and Bill recorded their own version of That's All Right in just 2 takes. That's all Sam needed after he yelled at Elvis. So Sam made a master copy of one of the tapes. He took it to the man that we all know now from upstairs, Dewey Phillips. And Dewey has a radio show here in town, just for context. It's not a national level. And I also do like to mention Scotty and Bill are seasoned musicians. They know what they're doing, and they had never even heard the song before. So that really is how obscure of music Elvis was listening to as a kid. That's why Sam was so impressed when he heard this coming out of him. So we have one of the very first broadcasts of Dewey